Hi, welcome to Nino Talks Vino. It will be all about champagne today. If you like this video, please subscribe, share it, like it, do everything you can with it. Champagne is made out of three grape varieties. Chardonnay, which is white grape variety, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, both black grape varieties, which make red wine or white wine. I'll be talking about that later. Chardonnay gives the wine freshness and liveliness, Pinot Noir, body and structure, and Pinot Meunier, which is not as famous as the other two, gives the wine complexity and richness. Theoretically, there are four other grape varieties that are allowed to be used: Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, Petit Meslier, and Arban. But together, these four grape varieties only make up to 0.3% of all plantings, so we can really forget about them. Okay? There's two types of producers: negociant manipulant and recoltant manipulant. Negociant manipulant is a producer that does not own 100% of its vineyards to have enough grapes to make their wine, and recoltant manipulant is a wine grower that produces wine under his own label exclusively from his own vineyards. The way to find out which is which is on the label of every champagne, either front or back, there's a 6 or 7 digit number, and before this, NM or RM, and that will indicate NM negociant, RM recoltant. Let's talk about Dom Pérignon, the most famous great champagne in the world. This brand was first registered by Moёt Chandon, which was then given as a wedding gift to Moёt Chandon between a marriage of both families. Moёt Chandon then used the brand for its prestige cuvée, its tête de cuvée, the best champagne that Moët would produce. Okay, nowadays, Dom Pérignon is its own brand under the luxury group Moët Hennessy Louis Vuitton. The inaugural vintage of this beautiful elixir of bubbly excellence was 1921. It was released in 1935. So the secondary fermentation for Dom Pérignon is generally 10 to 12 years. I get into this a little bit more into detail a little bit later. So from 1921 to 2010, only 44 vintages made the cut of being perfect enough to become Dom Pérignon. That said, it is clear that whenever you buy Dom Pérignon, it will be delicious, right? But I recommend to buy all the vintages because the wine really benefits from more bottle maturation. The secondary fermentation for Dom Pérignon generally is, we can say it's 10 years, okay? Sometimes more, sometimes less. To give an example, the 2009 vintage was released 1 year before the 2008 vintage was released. So there's really not a right or wrong with Dom Pérignon. It's just they release the wine when it's ready. Further on, today Dom Pérignon has a 3 Tyre release system. The regular Dom Pérignon, which will be P1, but it doesn't say, and then P2 and P3. The P stands for plenitudes, which means the peak. I'm not sure, I don't speak French, but whenever a P is released, it means that the house decided that this is a reserve on the vintage, and it is even better than the vintage that it was released first. An example, in 2002, the 2002 vintage was released in 2013 or 14, and P2 was released in 2019. So much much later. So the first plenitude generally is aged for 10 years, P2 generally aged for 15 years, and P3 is generally aged for 25 years. This extensive aging gives the wine enormous complexity. Over the time the yeast breaks down and becomes protein, and that gives you a great mouthfeel, makes the wine makes the wine structure incredible. The finish with these wines is very long, very fine wine. These wines you want to drink in a white wine glass, as I spoken to. That's where you really, really taste all this beautiful, beautiful taste. Oh, I'm so thirsty, I might open one of those later. Now, if you don't have access to any P2 or P3s, you can have an older vintage, right? That is kind of like, you have the extra bottle age where the wine becomes even better. Interestingly, from 1996 and older, P2, P3 did not quite exist the way it does now. Instead, it was called œnothèque, and that was an indication that this is a reserve wine. We have here œnothèque 92 and 96 was the last vintage. Nobody can spell œnothèque or pronounce it properly. I'm probably doing also not a great job at it. That's why they renamed it P2 and P3, which is great. So, Dom Pérignon is delicious. Try and get some P expressions. Try and get some older vintages. Let me know what you think about it. Okay. These three different expressions will reflect in the taste. The regular vintage, regular vintage Dom Pérignon will be fresher and lighter. But we always talk about great complexity over your regular champagne. This is so much better. But P2 expressions are more intense, and to me those are the most perfect, the most round expressions, and œnothèque expression. Are the best expressions of champagne. Then we go into P3, and those are a little bit more difficult to drink. So if you're thinking of trying a P3, the best match to pair this wine with, to me, is kimchi or fermented foods, maybe even blue cheese. You have to have like strong flavors, not overpowering, but fermented, funky flavors in the food are gonna tame down the P3, and that would be a nice match. But you definitely have to think about the P3. That's a wine that makes you think. My favorite Dom Pérignon I've had in the last 10 years is œnothèque 1996. It is still available in the secondary market, so here's a challenge for you. Go out there, buy a bottle, drink it whenever you feel like it. In the morning, in the afternoon, or late at night, with people or without. Doesn't matter, but think about it, see how you like it, and let me know. And this concludes Nino Talks Vino Dom Pérignon. If you like this video, please subscribe. Thank you.